Hong Kong's chief executive, Carrie Lam, and the police have apologized to the Muslim community a day after a Kowloon mosque was sprayed with water cannon. The city is now cleaning up after yet another violent weekend of anti-government protests.
Chief Executive Carrie Lam and Police Chief Stephen Low arrived at Kowloon Mosque on Nathan Road. Inside, they met with the Chief Imam. Mrs. Lam apologized to Muslim leaders and the community for the inadvertent use of water cannon at the mosque's main entrance. Mrs. Lam left without commenting publicly, but mosque leaders accepted the apology.
They sincerely apologized. They said this was not intentional.
Hong Kong police came under fire after the front gate and steps of the mosque were drenched in blue dye during a police operation on Nathan Road. The force noted that along with the mosque, a church and other buildings were hit by the water cannon. They apologized to all parties affected during the police operation to disperse protesters and said the police respects religious freedoms and all religious organizations in Hong Kong. Workers and shop owners have spent the day cleaning up the mess from the weekend's violent demonstrations. After 2 weeks of relative calm, tens of thousands of people took part in a rally in Tsim Sha Tsui despite a police ban on the gathering. Hundreds of shops were trashed, with mainland Chinese banks and stores targeted. Almost 100 traffic lights are also down on major thoroughfares due to vandalism. MTR stations were also vandalized, and again, train stations will be closed early for repairs.
Okay, we're taking now live to Yuen Long in Hong Kong this hour. Take a look. Protesters, as you can see, gathering. They are marking 3 months since suspected gang members indiscriminately beat up passengers and protesters at the MTR station there.
And some protesters have also begun blocking roads. Riot police, they, as we understand, have also arrived at the scene. And earlier, police say that there were 4 instances where suspected bombs were found over the weekend. And officers believe activists are now using the devices to distract police. Leong Wai Kit tells us more.
The key word is indeed suspected, because as of now we cannot confirm that these were actual devices. On Sunday, I've seen local TV footage of a police robot driving towards a parcel, and it was prodding the parcel before it exploded. Now today we got more clarity that the parcel was made to look like a bomb, so there were wires in the parcel, and the explosion that we saw was because the armed robot, the arm of the robot had actually set off that device. And police were very careful to say that these were suspected bombs because 4 such parcels were found on Sunday. You know, this comes on the backdrop of an actual homemade device that had gone off for the very first time last weekend during protests, and police then later made some arrests and found that there were 2 men suspected of making homemade bombs fashioned out of remote controlled devices as well as mobile phones. So there is this concern that homemade bombs or homemade devices may be a new threat, or rather will be a new threat to the police who are dealing with protests